Welcome to today's episode in which we are looking at Christianity in Africa. I am your host, Queen Muma, and I also have a special guest, Mr. Muma, who I didn't want to be here but is here anyway. So we want to look
I'm like
at
the Holy Spirit. I show up and make everybody great.
We'll leave it at that. So the topics, of course, will look at the background to the development of the various Christian denominations that we have in Africa. We also want to look at how Christianity quickly eradicated the African spirituality that was observed before Christianity entered in Africa. We also want to look at the impact of Christianity to the African people. Would you think Christianity has impacted us positively, or would you say otherwise? Then we also want to look at why Africa, as it stands right now, has got so many churches as compared to the people who brought it to us. We also want to look at Ethiopian Orthodox Church. And the last thing is the real Jews. Are we the real Jews? Are the Israelites, the people in Israel, the real Jews? So of course that will be our last topic of discussion. So Mr. Muma, I just want you to take us into the background of how some of these churches that we have in Zambia, you can pick the most common ones that are there, look at how they came about, in their development. Yeah.
Okay, so the funny thing is when you start researching the origins of these churches, because I know right now we've got like 50 million ministries, but that's not really how these churches came about. All of them came from just a few mainstays. But if you start researching the history of churches, you're going to discover that there was nothing super about the establishment of these churches.
Okay.
If you are not careful, you might even become atheist because you realize it was people with agendas and things like that. For example, let's start with the oldest, not the oldest, but the one that other churches came out of. We can start with the Anglican Church.
Okay.
The Anglican Church was literally created by King Henry VIII, if I'm not mistaken, in I think 1530 or 1531.
Mm-hmm.
Under that time, the Great Britain or England was under the Roman Catholic.
I see.
So he wanted a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Then the Roman Catholic, back then the Pope, the Pope said, no, we can't give you an annulment of your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So as king, for him to get that annulment of his marriage, he established, or he built, I almost said discovered,
Mm-hmm.
he built the Anglican Church.
I see.
And when the church was formed, he got his divorce. That's why you're going to notice the Anglican Church
Mm-hmm.
is like a hybrid of Protestant
I see.
and Catholic traditions.
Mm.
But with the Catholic Church, I'm sure you've heard of the Church of England.
Yeah.
That's where it comes from, like the Anglican Church. The Anglican Church is the Church of England.
I see.
So you're going to notice that churches like the Baptists, the churches like the Baptists came as existed, rather their origin is because they broke out of the Church of England. They were Protestants who believed in freedom of religion.
I see.
So you find for those guys, it was like for the Church of for the Baptists,
Mm-hmm.
it was around, I think, the 17th century
when they broke out.
They rejected the teaching, because the Anglican Church's teaching is the monarchy at the top, then everything else. Let me give you an example. The way you see the Catholics, like it's the Pope, then everything else. Mm-hmm. With the Anglican, it's the monarchy, then everything else. Now, there are those traditions where people started, wanted to worship independently, or rather I'll call them separatists. So around the 1700s, that's when the Baptists also broke out of the Church of England.
Oh, I see.
And it started normally from like England and Netherlands.
I see.
And it was started by a guy called John Smith, but the Smith is spelled John, and then Smith is spelled Smyth.
Okay.
Yeah, so one can say John Smythe, but I think they called him John Smith. So from then, that's how when the Europeans were migrating to America, that's how the Baptists now went to the USA. During a period in the Americans, they called it the Great Revelation or the Great Discovery.
Okay.
Like most church around that time, they're just broken off the British colony. Now understand one thing, why I started with the Anglican Church.
Yeah.
Because the Anglican Church was spread by the British missionaries.
Oh.
So when the missionaries came to Africa, Anglican Church. When they went to the US, Anglican Church. So when the Baptists now get to the US, they go, no, we actually broke out of this particular church because they didn't allow us to basically, yeah, like there was no freedom of worship, and then everything has to be changed. When the king says, do this, even if the Bible disagrees with it, you just go ahead and do it.
Because it's coming from the king.
Yes, and then it became so prominent because of a few characteristics. Because it's the Baptist church that believes the separation of state and church. Which is why, one of the reasons they broke out of the Anglican church.
I see.
Since Anglican church is a monarchy, there is no separation.
I see.
That's why if you hear like even up to now America, they will emphasize on the separation of church and state, church and state, because the American foundation, the government itself, the whole machine is based on like a Baptist foundation.
I see.
Yeah, so those are the Baptists. They also believe in full body baptism, but they reject infant baptism.
I see. And that's like the Catholic, the infant.
Yes. More like you have to give consent, then you can get baptized.
Yeah. Well, I feel it makes much more sense that way.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're now aware of yourself with what you're doing.
Yes.
You're accepting this because you're fully aware. Now as an infant, what are you?
Just thrown in there, they put some stuff on you. Put olive oil on you, soya oil on you, go baptized. Then we have churches like the Seventh-day Adventist. Seventh-day Adventist, it was in middle to early 18th century. There was a movement in the US called the Millerite movement. So the Millerite movement was led by, I think, the brothers, the Millers. Now, these guys predicted that Christ was going to return in 1844.
Wow.
Now you know how it is. The plans of God are not the plans of man. So Christ did not return in 1844.
We are still waiting.
Yes. So after that, you had people who branched out and like the whole movement was disbanded. But they actually call it the Great Disappointment.
When he didn't.
When Jesus didn't show up.
It was a great disappointment.
I'm sure people sold their
Yes,
lives.
that's my thought exactly.
I'm going to heaven.
You know?
I hate you, my husband. Bye-bye. And then tomorrow I'm just there. I'm like, where's your Jesus?
Together. We are still here.
Bring your mind. But after that, you had certain followers like Ellen G. White and the brother who branched out and around 1863 established the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
I see.
In fact, Ellen G. White, even the teachings, they believed she was a prophet who was seeing visions of God, and she helped actually write the whole doctrine of the SDA.
I feel like that's the only church there's a woman as a prophet and they kind of follow. Is there any other church where they had such?
No. When we say woman as a prophet, I'm not saying she's the only one who did that.
Oh, okay.
There were others, but she's the prominent one.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Because she was regarded as a prophet. There were a lot of lady women in these churches.
Yeah, but you don't get to hear them being mentioned the way she is.
You women don't research the women that were in the church.
Oh, okay.
You understand? Men will research our men, but you can't expect us to start researching the women also.
That's a lot of discrimination right there.
It's 2025, gender equality.
Wow.
So, after that, their doctrine now will emphasize on like and I'll give them credit to this, to emphasize on like a vegetarian diet, eating healthy, working hard, and also
So why would you give them credit? Because you don't believe
because
in any of that.
I don't, but it's rare to find a religion or a church that will
teaches.
say, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They have their own faults, they have their own issues, because up to now, when you try to research or ask the seniors in SDA to say, why do you guys say you can't eat pork or barbel fish? They try to point at the time when, in the time of the Levites.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they try to point at, but they forget that when those, and they try to point at, no, the demons went into the pigs, the story of Christ. But when you read the Bible, and when you read the scholars and all the other documentations and the history, there was a sea on the other side, Christ, the demons, and the forest. And the demons had nowhere to go. So they literally asked Christ, we have nowhere to go. And then Christ said, okay, go into the pigs. Yeah. They went into the pigs, and the pigs died into the water.
Yeah.
The pigs are not cursed.
It's like demons should always have a body for them to survive.
They need something to inhabit.
Yeah.
That's why even if you go in haunted houses, you find it's a painting that haunted.
Yeah.
They need, even when I was growing up as a Christian, when we were doing the whole demon casting, what we were trained for as prayer warriors, we were told when they're casting demons, if you don't feel like you should be in that room, do not be in that room, because they'll move from there into you.
I see.
Like that.
Aren't they like viruses? What's that? That means
parasites.
Parasites. Yeah.
So that's the SDA. Then you're going to have churches like the Dutch Reformed. The Reformed Church also, it was around the 16th century. They also emerged, actually they emerged from the Netherlands. Then they broke out of the Spanish Catholics.
Okay.
Notice there's a pattern here. Catholics are the very, very first one, but we'll get to them in a moment. So after they broke out of that, they formed their own Dutch. They were considered separatists. Out of the Dutch, because of the way they broke out of the Roman Catholic, they were collaborating. John Calvin is the one they based their teachings on. So John Calvin was collaborating with John Smith.
Oh, okay.
So that's how you end up having, they are very close to Baptists.
I see. Like
that, even their teachings is very close. But they also adopted the mantra of the separation of church and state. And up to now, they are, I think, the most prominent church in the Dutch. They were the ones who were used in the apartheid in South Africa. Yeah. Because they arrived in South Africa about around the 1600s. When I was arguing, when the UFC fighter Dricus du Plessis won the title and he was about to fight Adesanya, I'm African, like OG African. I didn't like that. I was Adesanya the whole way. So I started arguing with this Boer. Okay. And it wasn't like a racial argument. Yeah. The only people who it becomes racial are like Midwesterners, but with these other guys, it's, you know what I mean? So he's the one who now started telling me, no, for me, I can trace my ancestors from 1600. So if you say I'm not African, then what am I? And I'm like, I don't know. Me, I can trace my ancestry all the way to Ham. You understand? Yeah. Then he's like, but look at it from 1600. So look at Dreykus's family, and it's because the Dutch, using the Dutch Reformed Church, as the Dutch were coming through, they settled around the 1600s. Yeah. Then we also have the Jesuits.
Those are quite interesting.
Jesuits are a weird one.
Yeah.
Because Jesuits officially started around 1870 by a guy called Charles Taze Russell. Okay. And when he started, they just started it as Bible study.
That's in the States also?
Yes, in the United States. They just started it as Bible study, you know, like that, groups, Bible study groups. Then it developed a head of its own, a group of its own with their own beliefs and things like that. And before you know it, around, I think, 1879, they established the Watchtower and Society Tract. That's when they even published their very first magazine. They were not called Jehovah's Witnesses until 1913, when they were under. There's a gentleman, I've forgotten his name. But with the Jesuits, they do not believe Jesus is God. Okay. They do not believe in the Trinity. Granted, so because the concept of Trinity in Christianity was brought in by a commission who was working with the disciple of Christ, Mark. Most people don't understand that majority, if not all, of Jesus' disciples were niggers, Africans.
That is.
Mark was from Libya. Matthew was from Carthage. All of these people, like even Simon Peter,
really,
all of these people were from Africa. So when Mark was working with a guy called Tertullian, if I'm not mistaken, I just like to call him Ninja Turtle, but his name is Tertullian. Tertullian is the one who got the concept of Trinity, because in Commission practices, Nubian practices, Egyptian worship, when we're talking about the Book of the Dead, the Book of Life, they have three deities, Trinity. I think it should be Anu, Enki, and Enlil. If you're looking at it from a scientific perspective, but you're going to have Anubis, Ra, and there's another one, his son. So Trinity, and you're going to find Trinity in most religions, honestly. Yeah. There's Trinity in Hinduism, which is Shiva, Brahma, and I think Vishnu. You're going to find it in the Japanese with Amaterasu and the others. You find it in the Lao. You find it everywhere. You find it in Greek mythology. You've got Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades. I see. You find it even in the Native Americans. You even find this in the North Africans, where you've got Ogun, among the Orishas, basically. You have that Trinity. So that's how Tertullian put it in Christianity. But them they rejected. They also believe that Jesus has been ruling invisibly since 1914.
What? What do you mean ruling invisibly?
It's their belief that in 1914 Christ began ruling.
Ruling what?
The whole world and everything.
So he's here? Or what?
No, from heaven.
From heaven. So before that, what was he doing?
I don't know, maybe he was, fishing.
So from all of a sudden, 1914.
Yeah, I've asked the head scholar from the head office down there in McKinney. Explained. They said no, or he was occupied with other things in the universe. Like, okay. They also believe the righteous will inherit a new earth after Armageddon. There's a description in Revelation that talks about Gog and Magog, the war that will be fought by Christ, or that. Then they take it literally as it's going to be an Armageddon, a war. Okay. So the people who survive that war are the ones who are going to inherit the new earth.
The 1,000 something.
Yeah, those who they also believe about 144,000, I think, are going to rise together with Christ to go to heaven.
And the rest of you will perish or what?
I guess we'll die in Armageddon. Those who survive, we'll inherit paradise.
But what of me who's good?
See, those are the questions you start poking around now.
Yeah.
Then you have the OG, which is the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church have been around from the 1st century AD. Now, when we say 1st century AD, people don't understand. We are using now a calendar called the Gregorian calendar. We used to have a different calendar. But when the Empire of Rome came in, I think their first emperor, the same one who I forgot, was it Nero? I think Nero. He changed the calendar. So in 2025, we might actually maybe be in 3035.
Wow.
Because they isolated some days and then just overlapped it.
Why though?
I don't know. I guess it made sense to them.
I see.
So they've been around from like the 1st century, and then they say Peter was the first pope of the Roman Catholic Church, but they're the ones who murdered him. And they take that where Christ said, on this rock I shall build my church, Peter being the rock.
I see.
Now you notice a pattern here. OG is Catholic. Okay? Catholic breaks out Anglican. Anglican breaks out Baptists and Dutch Reformed.
I see.
Then you've got SDA that do their own thing here. But I think the SDA might be attached to the Baptist. Then you have the Jesuits, who are just like...
Came from nowhere.
Yeah.
So they didn't even break out from any.
No, because it started like a Bible study group. Guys, let's discuss these stories. That's how now they have their own weird thing.
I see.
Now from here, you have all the other churches. Because even the church I grew up in, AMEC, African Methodist Episcopal Church, broke out of the Baptist.
I see.
After the slaves were freed in America, right? You had a guy called Richard Allen and other blacks. They were welcome in the church. They would worship together, but the church would still be segregated. The restrooms they'll still be treated like second-class citizens. Like you accept, okay, we know you are human beings, but you are not privileged to these things.
True.
So then Richard Allen and his followers asked, then what God are we worshiping who's separating us?
Yeah.
That's how they branched off and formed African Methodist Episcopal Church. Most of their practices, including baptism, is exactly like Baptist, including the church service.
Wow.
The way the church service is organized.
Yeah.
Yeah, except it's just for like niggers. Yeah.
And from there, that's how it spread.
Yes, and then from these churches, you've got all these shiny ministries. For example, I'll give you Joel Osteen Ministries. Joel Osteen Ministries leans more to the Baptist practice.
I see.
You've got Creflo Dollar and all these black churches. They are Pentecostal churches, but they lean more to Amen because it just branches out like that from there.
I see. Well, quite interesting. And yeah. I came from the Baptist. I'm from the Baptist church.
I now ask you, what is the difference between our church, Redeemed Methodist, and the Baptist?
There isn't much. And I think the first settlers for the Baptist church came from Sweden. I heard you mention that the Baptist came between the British and also the Netherlands.
England, Netherlands.
Yeah, and when we look at the Swedish country, it's still almost...
Swedish is a country that was just created because they didn't want the Netherlands to have so much land, and you had a bunch of people in that area who are claiming the area.
Then how much did the Netherlands have? Because they also owned Belgium.
They are Vikings.
Oh.
If you read history of Vikings, those guys were awesome.
Really?
Yeah. By the way, that's why even black people like to think braiding hair is black. It's not black. It came from the Vikings. It's called a Dutch braid. It's not a black thing. It's a white thing.
It's ours.